men, and I use the term ever so loosely. You're looking at a front brake caliper on the 1975 XLH project I've been working on. And if you look at that and see bad news, like a broken off brake bleeder with the drill bit or something stuck down in the bottom of it, well, yeah, you're right. That is bad news. And this is going to be a little bit of a bitch to fix. But anyway, we're going to get rid of this broken bleeder and we're going to make this brake good to go again. All right, I'm going to make my first run at this thing with a little, I don't know, burring tool and my Dremel tool. And this is one of them kind you get at Harbor Freight or something where, you get an assortment in a package for, $8 or something. And as expected, it's not making very good progress at the broken off drill bit or tap or easy out, whatever the hell it is in the bottom of this hole. I didn't really think it would work, but hey, you got to give it a try, right? Okay, I'm going to make my second run at this thing, and I got a little grinding stone. And once again, this is one of them cheap ass Harbor Freight assortments, where you get a dozen bits for, $5. I don't hold out much hope for this thing, but let's see what happens. And as expected, it breaks almost immediately. All right, I decided to bite the bullet as much as I really didn't want to. I'm a cheap bastard, but I went to the hardware store and I decided to get some genuine Dremel uh, tungsten carbide bits. And these sons of bitches ain't cheap. They're in the neighborhood of $10 or $12 each. I got me a diamond one and I got two genuine tungsten carbide ones. So we're going to give these a shot and see if they work. So here goes the tungsten carbide bit into the hole. And son of a bitch, as you may be able to tell by the chips flying out of there at a rapid rate, this thing is cutting through whatever that hardened chunk of shit is down in the bottom of this as if it were butter. Worked great. I'd highly recommend the genuine Dremel tungsten carbide bits when you got to cut through something that's tough. They worked great. Amazon affiliate links to the Dremel bits has been provided down below. All right, I've managed to cut through whatever that piece of hardened shit was down in the hole. That was either that had to have been an easy out, maybe it was a drill bit, I don't know. But anyway, that's gone. So now we got to drill this out and size it for the seat repair insert. I've got some drill blanks, uh, and I found one the right size that fit kind of snugly in the hole. So I drug it out to the milling machine, clamped it up on an angle plate, and aligned it vertically with a digital level. And now I'm using my LED edge finder to locate the center of the rod and thus the center of the hole. Once I get it centered up in there, I'm going to clamp it down and I'm going to clean out the threads with a mill. Here's the caliper clamped up in the milling machine. I got an end mill in there, and I'm using an end mill because I don't want what's left of the brake bleeder valve to push a drill bit off center like it will. The end mill will go straight down in there. I've got this thing located with the lower mounting pin into a V block on an angle vise and an arrangement of 1, 2, 3 blocks of machinist jack to keep it all straight. This is sketchy, to say the least. So I'm going in with the end mill. I'm cleaning out the bits of the damaged threads, the bits of steel left over from the bleeding valve, getting the hole nice, clean, and straight, and making sure that I don't go all the way through into the cylinder, the piston cylinder. I want to stop just short of that because I don't want too big of a hole all the way through this thing. Okay, I've got here in my hand a bleeder valve seat replacement setup. I got this down at the local auto parts store. It consists of a brass bleeder seat that's 1/8 NPT on the outside that will go into the threads that I tap in the caliper. So it will replace the seat and replace the valve, and I should end up with a good caliper when I'm done. Now that the end mill has made the hole clean and straight, I could go in with a drill bit and I don't have to worry about it wandering off center. So this is the drill bit size to go with the 1/8 inch NPT tap that I'm going to use. I got it marked so that I don't go in too deeply. So we're going to run the hole out to the size for the tap. I got a 1/8 inch NPT tap chucked up in the mill, and I'm going to start threading it with the mill just to get it in there perfectly straight. You really want good threads on this when you're done tapping it so that the brass valve seat will seal up nicely. Anyway, I'll get it started with the mill and then run it down the rest of the way with the tap handle. All right, I'm going to put .5 in these brakes. And the first thing I'm going to do is fill up this rather ginormous syringe. I'm sure I got this off of Amazon. Probably not going to fill it up. Probably going to put about, I don't know, 50, 60 milliliters in it. I'm going to wait for the air bubbles to rise up. And then we're going to push the air out of it. All right, this is ready to go. All right, so we're going to hook the hose on the giant syringe up to the bleeder. We're going to fill the reservoir from the bottom up. So we'll open the valve and start pumping some fluid in. I would have thought it'd start coming out by now.
No.
Okay, did you hear that now? That was my dear sweet wife telling me it was starting to come out. So let's go see what's happening in the reservoir. Wife said to stop, it's full, so I stopped. All right, full just about to the top. This will be the first squeeze on the lever. I expect the lever to come all the way to the hand grip because I've got to move the pads out. Let's see what happens. Few little bubbles coming out of the hole in the bottom of the reservoir. The handle is already pretty hard. Well, I would call that good, except for the bleeder valve is leaking. Fuck. Okay, I cranked the bleeder valve down some more. Son of a bitch is still leaking. God damn it. Alright, bleeder valve tightened even more. And god damn it, son of a bitch is still leaking. Son of a bitch. Fuck. Okay, this is the leaking area. It was not leaking between the actual valve and the seat, but rather between the seat and the caliper. This is the caliper I had to grind the seized up valve out of and rethread. So this seat is 1/8 inch NPT and the valve is whatever the valve is, but it was between the 1/8 NPT and the brass valve seat where the leak was. And like I said, a half a roll of Teflon tape around the seat and it fixed it up good. Bone dry. Very happy with this repair. Over the years, I've used a litany of brake bleeding methods. You know, there's the original method, pump the lever until it gets a little bit hard, open the bleeder valve, let the air out, close, do it over and over again. Messy and ineffective. I then took to filling this with brake fluid and pumping it, putting a hose over the end of this, putting a hose over the bleeder and pumping it up, which is really much the same as what I did today with this. The disadvantage of this is it's very hard to keep the air out of the system. It just doesn't work real well. I mean, it works. I used it a lot, but it tends to be messy. Sometime in the past, I bought one of these Mighty Vac bleeder things. Once again, it works. It's messy, not particularly effective, but it works. I also made this doodad, which is a reservoir master cylinder top plate with a nipple on it so that I can hook the Mighty Vac up to this and hopefully suck all the fluid up from down in the bottom. Of course, you got to have a bottle with the hose hooked to the bleeder to suck it up. Once again, kind of messy, not particularly effective. I made this to screw into a number 3 AN fitting like most brake lines use so that I could hook up my Mighty Vac to a line somewhere and suck fluid up, from a master or from a caliper up to wherever the end of the hose is. That gets most of the air out and most of the fluid in. Works kind of. And over the years, I've tried to fill, like I did today with this thing, from the bottom with these guys. They don't hold enough, and every time you break and make the connection, you introduce air in the system. And I don't know why or how, but I stumbled across this gigantic syringe on Amazon one day, and you got to buy 3 or 4. Anyway, I bought a package. It was $5 or $6, not a big deal. And today, I got to hand it to it. This would have worked good. This would have been a one and done if the bleeder valve seat wasn't leaking on the caliper. This is by far the best method I've stumbled across. You could legitimately get all the air out of this thing. Put your hose onto the bleeder nipple with no air and just blow it on up until it runs out the master cylinder. This worked good. Anyway, I'm definitely going to use this again the next time. Hopefully I won't have a leaky caliper and I won't need to do it over again once I think I got it done. All right, I get to use my 2 favorite words, suck and cess. A half a roll of Teflon tape on the bleeder valve seat, and it's good to go. The handle is hard as a rock. There's no air bubbles coming up out of the holes in the bottom of the reservoir. This was a success. Had the bleeder valve not leaked, this would have worked the first time. It would have been one and done. But even still, one of the far less messy brake bleeding operations I've done. And with that, I am out of here. Hey, please subscribe. Tune in next time, and I think the next video you guys are going to see is going to be this bike running. That's the goal anyway.